Yes, my people, first of all, my sincere apologies for being late. I was watching the game at a fan park and I just got home now. But, anyways, I think I have just watched the weirdest game of my life, man. That did not even feel like a football match, apart from the results and everything that happened, which we'll talk about. But as a spectacle, as an occasion, as an opening fixture of the World Cup, it did not feel like a football match, Joe. I don't know, the commercial breaks during water. Ay, man, bafethu ngeke. What is the United States of America doing with our football? Hi, we still want to see those moments during water break where the coach is having conversations with the players. We still want to see those interactions, even if you may think they don't mean anything to us, but we still want to witness them. It really just gave a different feel to the game. It felt like I was watching a soapy. But anyways, let's dive into the game, right? It's South Africa versus Mexico. It's the opening fixture of the World Cup 2026. Hugo Bros goes with the back five, something we expected because we took a lot of defenders into this tournament, right? Mbogazi starts, Ime Okon starts, and Bodlela Osibisi also starts. Fine, no problem. We have Ukhuliso Muta on the right, we have Aubrey Mutiba on the left, right? Aubrey Mutiba was the one who was offering the width on the left. He sort of played as a left wing with TLB slotting in at the left back position. What was Hugo Bros thinking there? I don't know. Fine, we move on. In midfield, we have Yaya Sitole, we have Teboho Mokoena, we have Jaden Adams. No number 10. No number 10 to progress the ball and create link-up play with the two strikers, which was Lyle Foster and Ikram Reyners. Poor, terrible hold-up play, by the way. Lyle Foster, I don't understand, man. Actually, there was no need to even play with two strikers if you are not going to offer any width. Because Umudi was not offering any width, Ukhuliso Muda was not offering any width. Both of them were sitting. So we had to play through the middle to get to our attackers, right? But their hold-up play is poor. Their finishing is even worse. But what's more terrible was the link-up play, right? Receiving and turning and finding a 5-meter pass to spread it out wide. The basic things, Olal Foster were failing to do them. But also defensively, their press was not that aggressive, right? So it was almost useless to have two strikers who are isolated at the top end of the pitch. They give you nothing. You cannot get to them, but also they are not even pressing for you. And then in midfield, Asnaplani, Pras, Puma Ganjan, Jaden Adams, I think, had a decent first half, right? Actually, his first actions in the first half, they were showing a guy that had an idea of how to approach this game, of how to penetrate Mexico. But that's not the profile of Jaden Adams. He can offer you a box-to-box. He can play as a 6. But in terms of him transitioning during counter-attacks, that's not his best ability, right? So ultimately, you needed someone who was going to progress play or hold it up in the final third. Because clearly, Foster and Reyners couldn't do that. Why not player number 10? And the whole game approach was just atrocious, man. This is probably the worst game I've seen under Hugo Bros, Joe, in terms of the approach, because we were trying to build out from the back. That was the first approach, right? We were trying to build out from the back, absorb them, and then hit them on the counter or something like that in transition. But we were simply too careless in possession in that midfield. I mean, within the first 10 minutes, they eventually punished some of our mistakes, right? Usitole actually reminding me of that goalie Dortmund scored against Mamelodi Sundowns. Similar movement from Williams. But anyways, that was the plan. That was plan A from Hugo Bros, right? But that plan was thrown out of the window in the first 10 minutes, and all of a sudden we had to change it, right? Because we could no longer play through the middle. We were making a lot of careless mistakes, and if we continued to do that, we were going to be punished. So we resort to what? Long balls. Something that we clearly did not practice for, right? We were losing the first balls, they were overpowering us aerially, and eventually when we won those first balls, the second balls, they were dropping right into Mexico. Bro, that's why I'm saying, whichever way you look at it, this game was horrible. But finally, here's where I really get to question the tactical prowess of Hugo Bros, right? You've come up with a plan for the first half. You've seen how the plan went, right? You conceded one goal from a mistake, but you are vulnerable for most of the half. But 1-0 is not the worst score to to go to halftime with, right? You are still in the game. So now it's your opportunity to employ a different strategy that's going to help you not suffer as much as you did in the first half. But Hugo Bros chooses to continue with the very same players. And 10 minutes into the second half, Usipepelo Sitole, who had a horrible first half, someone you should have clearly identified, but okay, this guy is not going to give me anything. His confidence is ultimately bruised because he was at fault for the first goal. You continue to play him for the second half. He gets a red card, he gets sent off. Immediately after, we concede the second goal. So, how is Bruce so reluctant to adjusting his system? Even if you can see that it's not working. I really don't understand. From whichever way you look at it, it didn't work. Because you can't even say we created that many chances. Most of the shots on target we got were from outside the box. Umbogazi shot from outside. Apolis, I think he was around the 18 area. I'm not sure who the third one was. I'm not sure about lo omnye bekungubani, but hey, lo mshita angekhe bafethu. We need at least 3 points from the next 2 games, right? But the way things are panning out, we will not get those 3 points because it simply means we have to win now one of these 2 games that are remaining. And which game are we going to win? Is South Korea going to come with the same intensity, better technical ability? Is Czech? They are more physical, quick in transition, give you little to no time to recover after you lose possession. So that's what we are facing after the very first game of the tournament. Already, right? And we have to redeem ourselves. Hopefully, Hugo Bros has learnt a couple of lessons from this game and we can implement a couple of changes, man, and get a positive result.